table were exactly the same distance apart, talking inches, not feet. And he was becoming increasingly kinky, regularly bringing home carrier bags from sex shops filled with weird stuff that he insisted they try out. And that was really causing her problems. She was so wrapped up in her thoughts, she didn't even notice the pump jigging away until it stopped with an abrupt clunk. Breathing in the smell of petrol fumes, which she'd always quite liked, she hung the nozzle of the pump back up, clicked the key fob to lock the car. Brian had warned her cars often got stolen on petrol station forecourts, and went to the booth to pay. As she came out, she carefully folded her credit card receipt and tucked it into her purse. She unlocked the car, climbed in, then locked it from the inside, pulled on her seatbelt and started the engine. The Il Divo CD started playing again. She thought for a moment about lowering the BMW's roof, then decided against. It was past midnight. She would be vulnerable driving into Brighton at this hour with an open top. Better to stay enclosed and secure. It was not until she had driven off the forecourt and was a good 100 yards down the dark slip road that she noticed something smelled different in the car. A scent that she knew well. Comme des garçons. Then she saw something move in her mirror, and she realized someone was inside her car. Fear caught the inside of her throat like a fishhook. Her hands froze on the wheel. She jammed her foot down hard on the brake pedal, screeching the car to a halt, scrabbling with her hand on the gear lever to find reverse, to back up to the safety of the forecourt. Then she felt the cold, sharp metal digging into her neck. "Just keep driving, Katie," he said. "You really haven't been a very good girl, have you?" Straining to see him in her rear-view mirror, she saw a sliver of light shear off the blade of the knife like a spark. And in that rear-view mirror, he saw, reflected, the terror in her eyes. Chapter 3. Marlon did what he always did, which was to swim around and around his glass bowl, circumnavigating his world with the tireless determination of an explorer heading into yet another uncharted continent. His jaws opened and closed, mostly on water, just occasionally gulping down one of the microscopic pellets which, Roy Grace presumed from the amount they cost, were the goldfish equivalent of dinner at Gordon Ramsay's. Grace lay slouched in his recliner armchair in the living room of his home, which had been decorated by his long-vanished wife Sandy in black and white Zen minimalism, and which, until recently, had been filled with memorabilia of her. Now, there were just a few funky 1950s pieces which they'd bought together. The one taking pride of place was a jukebox they'd had restored, and just one photograph of her in a silver frame taken 12 years ago on holiday in Capri, her pretty tanned face grinning her cheeky grin. She was standing against craggy rocks, with her long blonde hair flailing in the wind, bathed in sunlight, like the goddess she had been to him. He gulped down some Glenfiddich on the rocks, his eyes rooted to the television screen, watching an old movie on DVD. It was one of the 10,000 his mate Glenn Branson just so totally could not believe that he had never seen. And recently it hadn't been a question of Branson's one-upmanship getting the better of his competitive nature. Grace was on a mission to learn, to educate himself, to fill that vast cultural black hole inside his head. He had slowly come to the realization during the past month that his brain was a repository for pages and pages of police training manuals, rugby, football, motor racing, and cricketing facts, and not much else. And that needed to change. Quickly. Because, at long last, he was dating. Going out with, in lust with, totally smitten by, maybe even in love with someone again. And he could not believe his luck. But she was a lot better educated than he was. It seemed at times that she'd read every book that had ever been written, seen every movie, been to every opera, and was intellectually acquainted with the work of every artist of note, living or dead. And as if that wasn't enough, she was halfway through an open university course in philosophy, which explained the pile of philosophy books on the coffee table beside his chair. Most of them he had recently bought from City Books in West.